Story time. What will it be? It's called story time. I made a little beat called story time. Let's watch Envyerz story time.
Did I really just do that?
Welcome to Storytime, a series where I tell you all about a Mexican struggle and about moments in my life in general. This week I'm showcasing some Call of Duty Black Ops 3 gameplay in the background, a first ever in Storytime history. And not gonna lie, Call of Duty gameplay commentaries back in the day were a thing, and it actually made me want to do stories like I am doing now. But instead of lying to you guys and saying I had an 18-some with 18 different hot banging girls at the age of 5, I'm just gonna tell you actual true stories instead. So if you could do the math, can you please 18 times 5 that like button? Pretty please. With that said, let's get on to the story. So I'm pretty sure at one point in our lives, someone has taught us how to be potty trained. Whether to sit down and poop, or stand up and pee, or to sit down and poop and sit down and pee, whatever your preference is. I'm not discriminating against anybody, but everyone is taught at an early age how to do so. This story for me takes place back in first grade. You know, the time you're learning how to be potty trained. And personally, for me, I was a really late bloomer when it comes to being potty trained. Like, it took me a little while longer than I think a normal kid would to learn how to, poop correctly, wipe his own butt, pee, standing up. Like, these were tough times as a first grade kid in elementary school. And there was two cases, two mini stories that I'm going to be telling in this overall Storytime episode, just to have a theme of accidents, because I've had a few accidents, especially in first grade. I remember 2 accidents pretty vividly because I was so shocked and how memorable these experiences were. But looking back on it, I was like, man, can't believe I did that. So the first incident in first grade, there was potty breaks. That's what they called them. That's when we took time out of the class so everyone can go to the restroom, whether or not to stretch their legs or just walk around a little bit. That's what we did. There's one restroom in the class, and that's for emergencies only. One time in particular, the whole class had the potty break, and for some odd reason, our teacher, I guess it was like a code or something along the lines, like they had to follow this code. They sent 4 boys and 4 girls to the restroom at the same time. Obviously in different restrooms, but they would not allow anybody else to go in the restroom until those 4 boys came out if you're a boy, or if those 4 girls came out if you're a girl. And one time when it was finally my turn to go, I had to poop. And like I said in the beginning, I was still learning. I was a late bloomer, I didn't know what parts went where and what to do when I had to poop. I was learning, but my homie Marcus was there, the dude that always pees with his pants down. He was there chilling already, peeing with his pants down. So I went into one of the stalls and I sat down on the toilet. And I let out the most massive baby poop ever. Like, I felt like I was just dropping hot mixtapes left and right at the time. I was like, wow, I never do these at home. And unfortunately for me, when I had to go wipe, I looked at the toilet paper and there was none. I called out for Marcus. I was like, Marcus, can you call the teacher? No answer. I guess I was the last one in there, and apparently I wasn't screaming loud enough to get the teacher's attention to come in here and get some toilet paper for the homie. So what I ended up doing, I was a little bit runny. It wasn't that bad, but I felt the poop around my butt cheeks. I felt like when you drop the hot fire, you get a little splash. I didn't know if it was poop or if it was just poop water. And either way, I had to wipe myself. That's what I was taught. You have to wipe yourself after pooping. So what I did as a stupid first grader, being potty trained at the time, like I said, late bloomer, I got on my underwear. I wiped myself with the underwear that I was wearing. And I got a good 6 or 7 wipes. I felt cleaner. I didn't put back on the underwear, obviously. What I did was I pulled up my pants, flushed the toilet again just to see if the poop went down. The poop, unfortunately, did not go down. So I was like, man, they usually get in trouble for the kids that don't flush the toilet. So what I did, I just closed the stall, washed my hands, threw away the underwear. And for the rest of the day, I was just in my jeans, commando style. Luckily, I had the jeans on. And I didn't use underwear for the rest of the day. That was one story of my many first grade accidents revolving around the toilet. And the best part of all that, I don't actually remember getting in trouble when I got home or by any teacher. So that was a pretty feel-good success story. I improvised, had no toilet paper, used my own underwear. That's something you got to tell your grandchildren about. Now this next story, however, isn't as a success story as the wiping myself with my own underwear. It was in the middle of class. The teacher was reading something. And like I said in the beginning, there's one toilet in the back of the class with like a little stall in it. So I raised my hand and asked if I could go to the restroom. And she said, not now, wait until I'm done reading, because you obviously need to hear this story for some odd reason. I was waiting and waiting, squirming and squirming. And when it was finally my chance to go, she let me go to the back of the room and go into the restroom. Now, unfortunately for me, I couldn't get the zipper down. This is like a common thing with kids nowadays. They can't get the zipper down. And I was a victim of not being able to get my belt unbuckled and the zipper down. When I finally got all unbuckled and what have you, I just started peeing all over the place, squirting my urine on the floor, on my underwear. It was on the toilet seat. It was an absolute mess, even the ceiling. And after the events of me just peeing all over the place, I was in the restroom contemplating life. I was like,
Yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble. How am I supposed to hide this?
and luckily for me this time there was toilet paper in the room. I used all the toilet paper to clean up the urine I splattered all over the place. But it still smelled like there was urine on the floor and on the toilet seat. And that room smelled like urine. A lot of it. The floor was also sticky, like whenever you pee on the floor and you don't clean it up well, it sticks. So as a first grader, I thought to myself,
I gotta find a cover up. There's no way I'm going down with the ship. I have to get out of here.
And first thing I did when I opened the door, the cubbies are right there near the bathroom, like everybody's backpack and whatnot. So I grabbed somebody's soda. I don't know who it was. It might have been mine, actually. It was a can of Sprite. I grabbed a can of Sprite, opened it up, and poured it on the floor. That way, it was a cover-up. The smell of Sprite would cover up the smell of pee all over the place. And I kind of wiped it a little bit, as much as I could. I didn't pour all the Sprite out because it would have basically flooded that little area. I just poured a little bit out on the pee, and I went nonchalantly back to my desk. A few moments passed, and someone else had to use the bathroom. And they were like, "Teacher, I think there's, I don't know what this is on the floor." And I was like,
Yes! They didn't say pee. I'm good. I'm not going to get in trouble.
so the teacher kind of stopped class for a second. She went to go check it out. Had to call in the janitor to do the dirty work. Although it was a little bit more messy than the poop story, it was still kind of a success story. The only bad thing is I peed all over my underwear, and I was actually wearing my underwear, so I kind of smelled just a tiny bit. But I think it was still a rather great success story in my opinion. I covered up the pee with soda, and it was one of my most proudest accomplishments as a first grader ever. And those are the 2 times that I had an accident in my pants in first grade. It wasn't really an accident in my pants, even though if it kind of was. It was just an awful mess. Potty training is a terrible thing, and I'm glad I've gotten through that difficult time in my life. But I hope you guys enjoyed this unfortunate events of a story time, and be sure to let me know in the comments section below. Have you guys ever had this experience where you had to cover up your accident at an early age of being potty trained? I certainly did. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.